Okay, so today we are going to be looking at a ranked game that I played, I think, a day or two ago. I think it's a little bit after my last video, so I'm in a little bit better of a mind state, and we're going to be taking this game a lot more carefully and a lot more accurately, shall we say. So with that being said, this is just going to be an overview of, I think this is bronze, I think ranked. I think it's around tier 5 or 4 or something. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. It's bronze, so generally yourself and every other player on your team and the enemy team are going to be pretty goddamn terrible. Which means there's going to be lots of mistakes, lots of outplays, or, you know, just basic gameplay that players of this tier think are outplays, and, well, everything in between. So with that being said, our Z39 thinks it's a good idea to rush into B at the start of the game, not realising that the enemy team does have an Atlanta B, and well, he's at a loss as to why I would not follow him into B, which is, again, radar, DDs, tend not to mix all that well, so again, the first thing you want to do when you're playing ranked games, same with randoms, is check what ships are on the enemy team. If you check, you'll see that the enemy team does have an Atlanta, which means that we can't really rush into B very early in the game, as you're opening yourself up to getting basically focused by every ship on the enemy team. And if there's one rule to playing DDs, be it in random battles or ranked battles, is you want to at least survive for the first 3, 4, 5 minutes, because, you know, you want to actually be able to do something for the rest of the game. So as you can see, I'm slowing down a little bit here. I don't want to expose myself. That sounded weird. I don't want to expose myself to the possibility of being radared. Again, one key sign of when an enemy ship will radar is when you enter a cap that they have coverage of with radar. So, you know, as soon as they see the enemy, or as soon as they see the Z39 entering into B, and they see that ticker going as it's being captured, they'll immediately think, okay, I have coverage of B, time to radar. Boom, Z39, radar. Being detected and eating a shitload of damage. Now, generally, the odd time you will get away with, you know, just being rushed into B, but I think it's something to be very cognizant of, because, again, a bad play that you get away with is still a bad play, and you need to be able to play decently for a large amount of games to actually improve. That being said, the shared Soyuz does seem to push into B in an attempt to recapture it, as our Vanquilin does go down. Again, thanks, I think, to radar there. And now we have mistake number 2 from the shared Soyuz. Mistake number 2 being that he sits in smoke. I think he's... Could he be within the Z39's hydro range? Maybe, although I'm not really 100% sure on the hydro range of the C32. Anyways, he realizes he's detected and then he wants to escape, but unfortunately he doesn't do so in time and decides to eat torpedoes. Again, you do not want to sit in smoke in a DD, especially in something like a shared Soyuz where you're basically a torpedo boat, so again, you're not really going to be hyped on the gun potential of that ship. Now, we're going to pop into, I don't know if you'd call this a mistake per se, more so just a, you know, just a kind of a off-the-cuff decision, because generally this kind of play isn't going to happen all that often. As you see, the mass has hydro right here, and well, I also have hydro, which has a 3-kilometer range. But the difference being between my hydro and the mass's hydro is that I can get undetected, or at least out of shooting range or shooting ability for the enemy team, whereas the enemy mass just can't. Mostly due to the fact that we have a C39 that's capable of eating him alive. Now that forces the mass to do one of two things: either reverse and get out of detection range by reversing basically a kilometer, all the while eating a hell of a lot of damage, while our Z39 is still trying to navigate the controls of a ship and not, you know, ground. Or he can rush me and hope that I'm not good enough to angle for his torpedoes and end up eating one and dying as a result. He decides to go for the second option and rush me, all the while taking damage from the enemy team, or my team. Now right here, I'm hoping to get a shot on his torpedo jibs, to finish him off or to stop him from getting those off, but it doesn't seem to be happening. Instead, we get the kill because he rushed our entire team, and with Hydro, it makes dodging the torpedoes fairly simplistic. Now we get 2 of their DDs out of the game, which gives us a huge advantage. Another advantage that I haven't even mentioned yet is the fact that the Atlanta decides to basically remove himself from the game by going on that wide flank. If you're playing a radar cruiser in ranked and all 3 caps are in the middle of the map, you do not want to be going so far wide on the flank that you just have no impact on over basically any of the caps. It's such insanity that you'll play that wide on the flank, and frankly it's kind of insanity too that our Synop decides to push that flank, but he's on my team, so I'm going to say he's making good decisions anyways. But honestly, if you're playing such an impactful ship, basically the only radar in the game, you want to have positioning that means that you'll be the most impactful over the course of the game. That being said, we're going to launch some preemptive torps here. I want to shimmy the line between, you know, having the best chance of my torpedoes actually hitting. Oh, look at those overpens. Having the best chance of those torpedoes actually hitting, but also, you know, staying out of detection range, which is vitally important. So, you know, kind of hovering around that 7.5 kilometer range from any BBs is pretty much the nicest middle ground between, you know, guaranteeing torpedo hits, but also having enough wiggle room to, if a sudden change of direction happens, you'll be able to adjust and get away without being detected. Luckily, the Atlanta does go down thanks to the Bayern and the New Mexico. Well, mostly just the New Mexico, but I think, why? Sorry, this is my first time actually watching this video back. Why is our Bayern and our New Mexico chasing the Z-30 anyways? Anyways, the Arizona at this point does end up taking a torpedo, but the main thing we want to focus on here is that we have control over both the caps. Lucky hit. And when you have control over both the caps, and if we look at the triangle of strength in terms of ships, DDs are stronger against BBs, cruisers are strong against DDs, and well, BBs are good against cruisers. And so, with me having 4 smokes still available, we're going to be having a very, very easy time dealing with both of these BBs. And again, I don't want this to seem as though it's representative of every ranked game. Again, there's a couple of things to note here. This is bronze tier, which means that the players are not going to be of the highest quality, myself included. But again, bronze kind of leans itself to being a little bit less skilled, and so you're going to get players or BB players that tend to walk in straight lines. Or not walk in straight lines, but sail in straight lines. And thus you get, you know, the effect of them not changing direction and walking into 4 torpedoes and taking a hell of a lot of damage. And so this might be fine and all for bronze tier, but again, don't expect to get these high damage numbers in silver, gold. Again, the players are going to be much more competent, and you're not going to get this straight lining from BBs. So again, I just want to preface that because, you know, it's very easy to fall into the same kind of thinking of like, oh, my torpedoes, they're going to hit every time and they're going to get 4 kills and we're going to get 5 billion damage. It's just not going to happen very often. Meanwhile, we decided to hunt down the C-39 because our Bayern went down chasing it, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but anyways, the C-39 is trying to alter his pace in order to dodge a lot of my shells, but he doesn't seem to be all that good at it. And at this point I feel confident enough with the rest of my team, i.e. we have a Z-39 in New Mexico and 2 caps, that I'm confident enough to push this Z-39, even though he does have a hydro advantage, and take him out. But again, ranked overall is actually pretty fun so far. I'm being enjoyed a lot. So if you like a little bit more competitive aspect, or even if you just like having less ships in the game and a lower chance of carriers, maybe play a couple games it's actually a decent way to, you know, practice a couple of things and improve your skill overall at the game. But with that being said, there's only one thing left, and that's New Mexico, and the Z-39's bad attempt at torpedoing me. With that being said though, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.